Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. We're going to talk about the advantages of a software deployed video platform and what that means. So first, just want to give you something quick. What do you use a software-defined video platform for, and who uses it? Well, a software-defined video platform is usually employed by traditional broadcasters and OTT providers, as well as service companies, to source, manage, and distribute live events and live linear channels over any network, IP network, and typically a hybrid of networks, over any protocol, over any cloud, and over any edge device. And what's driving the usage of IP, which is the main component of moving live and live linear across diverse environments, what's driving that move to IP is a lot of different things coming together all at the same time. So you got the, how people are watching content, how quickly you have to move in the market, the fact that there's software-defined video platforms that can give you 6 nines of reliability and do as well or better than satellite in an unmanaged world, but also work in managed environments. The rapid move to virtualize for cost-effective reasons, but a whole other a list of benefits, which I'll talk to a little bit later about. The mega mergers, the people kind of preserving capital, moving more to OpEx from CapEx, the relentless pressure to cut cost, and then of course 5G and its impact on C-band, where some people have to get off C-band, but also the people that are still on C-band that are worried about bleed, and then obviously cost. And then COVID on top of all that is kind of a perfect storm where people are really rapidly deploying these IP networks at scale. And to do that, you need to manage it with some sort of software-defined video platform. We did a poll recently, and between 93 and 97% of the media executives, these are hundreds of media executives, believe that this move to remote workflows and virtualization is going to result in new revenue opportunities, is going to save money. The adoption of cloud is going to be much faster than anticipated previously, and that this move to virtualization and IP networks is going to require atomic levels of telemetry, data, and orchestration. So what are the characteristics? How can you tell whether or not it's a software-defined video platform? Number one is it software-defined, right? And so software-defined it's a truly native cloud software environment. It's not a containerized hardware that's forklifted into a container to make it look like software. But it's true native software. Doesn't mean you can't containerize software. We offer our software, native or containerized, because a lot of people use containers for automation and things like that. But again, looking at its origins and what it's made for, because you don't get the versatility and a lot of the other characteristics of a software-defined video platform if you're not starting with native software. And by nature, it's virtual. Connectivity is easy, deployments are fast, and it's end-to-end versus point-to-point. Not that you can't do point-to-point with a platform, but when you're looking at supply chains and you're looking at interoperability across edge devices and your multi-cloud and your multi-IP network, you really need something that's software deployed in order to get end-to-end results. 2, it needs to be scalable. For scalability, you need a unified control plane, because if you don't, you're blind. And if you have complex workflows and you have thousands of streams and you have supply chains that involve multiple partners, you really need to have the eyes and the ears to know exactly what's going on. You also need it to extract the complexity away from these complex IP networks so that you can manage them, you can orchestrate, and you can operate them with operators. So you're democratizing operations so that you can do it with reasonably priced people, not very high-priced video engineers completely running the thing, because we don't have enough video engineers to do that, even if we wanted to. It needs to be scalable in the sense it needs to be geo and physical agile. And it needs to be an adaptive architecture, because the only thing that we can guarantee is that things will change. It needs to be data driven. So you do need atomic levels of telemetry. You need that at the edge. You need that on the devices. You need that on the network. You need that on the transport stream. You need that on the content. You need that in the cloud. So you need this telemetry to know exactly what's going on. You need to be able to do event correlation. You need to visualize the data and have a history of this data so that you can look at any point in time and know exactly what happened when, if something did happen. You need to have predictive analytics so that you're predicting issues before they happen. And then if things do happen, you need to be able to pinpoint the root cause very, very quickly. Fourth, you need the quality of experience, and it's probably the most important. So, you need a platform that, or you need a software-defined video platform that will give you, 6 nines of reliability or better. You need signal path diversity. You need architectures that are built with the proper redundancy. You need inline transcoding. Integration across the media supply chain. So it's not, a point to point, but you're going through the whole media supply chain and using this platform to manage it all the way from end to end. And there can be no software resolution limit, because we're going higher and higher resolutions every day. And it needs to be future-proof. You really should look at a software-defined video platform that says, okay, I'm going to give you universal interoperability, and that it's got an ecosystem that is extensive and is expanding, and that any protocol can be used, whether it's open protocol, whether it's proprietary protocol, whether it's open source protocol, whether it's a standard protocol, or any combination of the above. And it should be able to manage everything across your IP networks, whether that's low orbit satellite, whether that's 5G, whether that's unmanaged internet, whether that's managed fiber, needs to be managed at all. All cloud environments needs to be integrated into, and all edge devices need to be accessible and manageable through this platform. And very, very importantly, it's committed to standards, because things will change, standards evolve, and you need this software-defined video platform to stay ahead and be part of the standards movement. So what makes up a software? So those are the characteristics. So what makes up a software-defined video platform? Well, one is protocols, and a lot of people think, well, this is the software-defined video platform is protocols. Well, protocols is only one piece. It's an important piece, but it's one. And obviously, we have the Zixi Protocol, which is in the unmanaged world, 95% market share, tested at scale almost everywhere in the world. But we also offer 16 other protocols, everything from NDI to WebRTC to RIST main profile, SRT, and on and on and on. So, but a component is to be able to handle the multitude of protocols and to grow as protocols come into the market and gain popularity. You need a control plane. We kind of talked about that a little bit, but we have ZEN Master, which is the control plane that does abstract the complexity and allows you to operate at scale. When you have thousands and thousands of channels, and we're talking 3, 4, 5, 6,000 channels or streams, it's very, very important to have a control plane that manages that entire workflow. So you also need a video solution stack. So video solution stack, we're calling it as a descriptor as the platform, but it's the brains of the operation. So it manages all the protocols and transport. It pulls all the telemetry and manages the bonding and provides bonding capability across protocols and across IP networks. It provides hitless failover capabilities. It provides things like recording and auto slating and a whole host of services that it does across all the different protocols. And then you need an ecosystem. This is what we call ZEN, or the Zixi Enabled Network. So our network currently has over 200 integrated partners, and that's devices and cloud partners and service providers that have integrated and standardized on Zixi. On top of that ecosystem, we have the open source ecosystem. On top of that, we have the standards ecosystem. So there's really an ecosystem that's virtually unlimited, that it'd be almost impossible to find a device out there that's, you know, carrying live and live linear that that cannot be integrated into the Zixi software-defined video platform. So these are 5 major use cases. Obviously, there's many others as well, but I'll take you through them quickly, and then I'll spend a little more time on 2 of them. Satellite rationalizations. So, you know, a lot of our customers are moving away from satellite in part or in total. And it's more of a rationalization than a replacement. There are things that satellite is perfect for, and there's things that it's not as well suited for. So, for example, at NBC, we've really replaced 5 transponders so far for them. So that's some fairly good scale. That's, you know, close to 3,000 streams. And the impact is that there's typically, you know, all in about a 50% decrease in the total cost of ownership. And so we've done that for many companies. Music Choice is just starting their rollout of replacing their satellite, started this week. And you got NBC Universal, who's been doing it for a couple years with us. Univision started a year ago. Again, we have many customers doing this. We also have the major satellite providers like SES that are standardizing on Zixi for their IP solutions, so that they're offering the Zixi IP solution based on the software-defined video platform, as well as their other services around satellite. There's also the concept of a universal gateway, which is to have a universal way to originate content, a universal way to aggregate content, and a universal way to distribute content. And this is typically facilitating the cost-effective kind of content exchange concept. And we do that for Prime Video, where they aggregate many streams via Zixi into the Prime Video platform. Same with Fubo, to integrate across any protocol, no matter what protocol it is, can come in and in an integrated way into a platform. Or service providers like Comcast Technology Solutions that standardize on Zixi to distribute this content to people. Or Music Choice, who chose to distribute via Zixi in a universal way. Remote monitoring and operations. So obviously this is very important with COVID-19 to get people safe, but it's also been a trend for quite a while, and I think the trend has just really picked up, so that you're able to remotely monitor and manage your operations, you know, via Zixi and via the software-defined video platform. There's also driving new revenue sources. For instance, Bloomberg TV was launched via Zixi. Bloomberg's been a longtime customer, and they are able to do this with relatively few engineers in a few months, and the results and the return they're getting on that is amazing. And we've also helped them with transcoding to get it directly to Samsung TVs. So they're going direct to consumer. And again, you know, taking their content and finding new and innovative ways to monetize. Peacock is based on Zixi and is carried by Zixi. Blizzard, Prime Video, lots of example of people are driving new revenue sources via Zixi. And then cloud virtualization. So, you know, this requires a software-defined environment, and it also requires the ability to run, you know, anywhere. So, you know, the Zixi software can run, you know, on the edge. Zixi can run in-house, in a private cloud, in a public cloud, across multiple clouds, across any type of network, so that you can truly virtualize your workflows. So I'll pick 2. One is the move to virtualization, right? And the recent pandemic has accelerated that, but there's a lot of reasons why people are virtualizing and moving to the cloud. One is the migration to IP backbones, and this is just the increased adoption of IP networks for video transport that's been happening over the last, 5+ years, but has really accelerated in the last 3 years or so. The need to reduce cost, the move from CapEx to OpEx, and the fact that there's cloud competition out there. Move to software defined, the shift from a hardware-based environment, a physical plant, so the hardware and the physical plant and the people are all tied to physical locations, kind of doesn't work in the virtualized world, and certainly doesn't work in a pandemic. Cloud competition, so the cloud providers are competing with each other, they're driving the cost down, they're providing economies of scale, and it's opening up a whole new set of avenues for broadcasters and for OTT players and everybody in the media workflow. And then the shift in consumer habits obviously has changed how people are doing things, and how content providers are setting up meet me rooms via Zixi in the cloud, where all the different providers will be pulling down their content. So it's a big movement in the media industry. I'm sure everybody listening knows that, but it's an important part that makes a lot of the things that we're trying to do possible, and it's not really possible to do without a software-defined video platform. The other use case I just wanted to highlight is the concept of a universal gateway. So what I mean by this is, one is there's a way to do universal origination, so that you can take a very high bit rate origination feed and you transcode once to whatever ladder you want to transcode to, and you get a much higher quality. It's much more efficient, much more effective, much more cost effective by doing that. A good example of that is Bloomberg Plus. So if you go look on bloombergplus.com, and you can look on your TV, or you can Samsung TV, or you can look on your phone, or you can look on your laptop, you'll see a heads-up console and a visual experience that, even if you aren't in 4K or ultra high def, is different than what you see in most other TV programming. Universal contribution. This is the idea of one platform for all IP contribution. So imagine if you were an OTT provider and you have, or a service processing facility, and you have 1,000 channels, or you might have 5,000 or 6,000 channels, and they're all coming in, and you want to have a universal platform to have that content. And you don't really care whether it's coming in over fiber or internet or 5G or whatever, 4G or wherever it's going to come from. You don't care if it's a Zixi protocol, the SRT protocol, or any other protocol. You're pulling it all in and can protocol switch and manage all that and have a control plane to give you that complete visualization and understanding of what's going on through the whole workflow for all that contribution. Same for distribution. So now I'm going to distribute this way using this platform, and I'm going to determine what format and how I distribute it, and people can come take it if they have the rights to take it. So universal origination, universal contribution, and universal distribution. So what gives Zixi the right to kind of define what a software-defined video platform is? It's really because we've been doing this for so long. So we've been doing this for 13 years. Started out with the Zixi Protocol, which is obviously a lot of what we're known for, but we are so much more than that. It is just one component of what we do. Today, we have over 100,000 instances of Zixi globally. We're deployed in over 100 countries. We have over 700 media companies. We have over 200 integrated technology partners, 100 of which we signed and have integrated in the last year. And what that provides is an unmatched global network. So not only are we end-to-end, but we're anywhere to anywhere. And there's no network in the world, virtual or otherwise, that is as expansive or as interoperable as a Zixi Enabled Network. So these are just a few of our clients. So obviously we have some of the major broadcasters and major media companies in the world, but we also have a lot of smaller and medium-sized businesses and a lot of service providers. So it's a vast network, and our clients are constantly working with each other to share and exchange ideas and also content. This is just a glimpse of the ecosystem. Again, a few of the 200. Some of the newer ones are companies like Blackbird and EditShare in the kind of editing world. Redbee has actually been a partner for quite a while, but they've just announced recently they're completely standardized on Zixi. NetInsight announced that we're the power underneath the hood at NetInsight, and on and on and on. This is another way to kind of look at the Zixi Enabled Network and the interoperability and those types of things. So on the bottom, you've got devices and services where Zixi is already integrated. So odds are, if you're using an IRD or encoder or decoder, that Zixi is already integrated into that. We're integrated into all the major cloud providers and heavily integrated from a control plane perspective into Google Cloud, Azure, and AWS. And AWS has actually a product to move a live and live linear into the cloud, across the cloud, and out of the cloud, called Media Connect, and that is all Zixi. We have a host of service providers that have built services around Zixi to help you implement and manage those, and those range from satellite companies to pure service providers to hybrid professional services firms. We have the content owners, and then we have a whole host of OTT platforms forming this universe of the Zixi Enabled Network. Some recent customers are Rogers in Canada, UAGM, which is the government agency which does, been in the news quite a bit lately, but does Radio Free Europe and a lot of video work. Fubo, Warner Media, Univision, T-Mobile. T-Mobile, we're just wrapping up the deployment of 440 streams for them, as an example, and kind of new, kind of hot companies like Caffeine TV, which is using the Zixi software-defined video platform as the foundation for their whole TV network. And then partners, we talked about Blackbird, ad insertion platform, watermarking with Ardetto, and Telstra was recently announced. So many of the networks are building us into their networks. Tag was just announced, I think, this week, and we're doing a webinar with them. So a lot of the major organizations out there that you're probably already dealing with are Zixi enabled. So to sum up that part, it's Zixi or it's not. It's a little bit arrogant to say, or I guess a little bit arrogant, but we do have a complete platform for contribution and distribution of live and live linear channels, and we do meet all the characteristics of a software-defined video platform. We're proven at high quality and high reliability at 6 nines or better. Fully integrated into all the major clouds, unmatched security with password, industry standard encryption, as well as DTLS, global, and providing inline transcoding. So with our 700 customers, our 20,000 channels, our 100,000 instances, our 17 protocols, our unmatched reliability, all managed and monitored with ZEN Master, we offer something that is really unique in the market. So what's new? In the protocol world, we're now up to 17 protocols. So we have now in production NDI and NDI flipping across multiple protocols. We implemented risk main profile, SRT, TCP BBR, multipath TCP, and WebRTC for low latency stream monitoring. So those were put into version 14, which is now generally available from Zixi. The Zixi Enabled Network, which we talked about 100 new partners in the last year, but the idea is, camera to play out, that you can use Zixi across your entire supply chain. And recent partner announcements are, we talked about some of these: Ad Insertion, Blackbird, Edit, Share, MediaKind, Telstra, Tag, Redbee, Irdeto. And these are just really in the last 30 days or so. In the Video Solutions Stack, we're now on our second generation of video transcoding. So we're really known for our high bitrate transcoding. And we added things like logo insertion and image overlay. We now have multi NVIDIA GPU support. We do WebVT support for OTT. So if you want to get to Samsung TVs, or if you want to get to Roku devices, or you want to get to Fire Sticks or things like that, to be able to support the WebVTT in transcode is very, very hard to do, especially with live content, and we do that. And improved NVIDIA transcoder performance and stream density. We added the 5 new protocols to the platform. We put in, just because we have some customers who had some source jitter issues, we introduced a capability to take RTP source and de-jitter it. So even if you have a source issue, we can fix it. And then, what we do with our hybrid hitless failover and bonding, so we can bond across different IP networks. We have patented technology to do hitless failover across different networks and across different protocols. We increased our single stream bitrate to 5 gig. Seamlessly update latency and forward error correction parameters, improved what you can do with root cause analysis. And then we introduced an HLS DVR manifest support in AWS S3. And then ZEN Master, we actually last month rolled out a whole new responsive UI. So we rewrote our UI, improved user experience, and added a number of features. We did a full Media Connect ZEN Master integration. So not only are you be able to spin up instances and spin down instances and work in the cloud environment at AWS or Azure or Google, but you can now directly do Media Connect flows. One very exciting thing, we introduced PID mapping and PID normalization, so that if you need to normalize or manipulate your PIDs for either how you want to bring them in or how you need to send them out, we have that capability built into the software-defined video platform. Full SCUDdy logging capabilities with iframe injection, and then also the API callback. We now have multiple ways to do low latency stream previews. We have WebRTC, we have VLC, which we've had for a while, but we added the low latency capability, and then also on your iPhone or iPad with iOS. We introduced network bonding for broadcaster and feeder sources, geographical system mapping, so you can now take, and not only can you look at a diagram of your workflow, but you can also put it on a map, so you can see exactly where everything is operating in red, yellow, green, so you know exactly what's the problem with a click through to get exactly where you want to get to. So depending on how you want to see it, whether that be grids, whether that be diagrams, whether it be geographical mapping, or whether that just be alerts with no visual, we provide all that. We can also export data to Kafka. And then we can also support multiple transcoding GPUs. Thank you, everyone.